So this is my current Freshservice account where I have no incidents, no alerts, and nothing. So I'm starting from scratch so that we are able to follow it more closely and be able to understand what exactly is happening. So first thing that I'm going to do is going to simulate the situation that we saw in the image with that, which was a mess and a panic. So what I'm going to do is going to create or like simulate a lot of alerts which indicate something is going wrong. So I'm going to do this via an API call. This perfect. Now let me return to my environment. So this is where I am now. Let me do a hard refresh. Yep. Yes. What I'm seeing is now incidents have been created with priority high, urgent, everywhere. I have 4 incidents happening at the same time. I also see these incidents have been also been assigned to an agent group. Now, let me also jump to the alerts so that I can also show you the alerts which were generated. Yes. Here too, I see 4 different alerts coming in. I can also see like they are associated with an incident. And yes, I can also see which is the service they are being impacted. Now the question comes, how do we know to which of my agent group I need to assign these particular tickets or like these alerts to, or from which or the other additional information about what are the services which are impacted by this alerts and all. So that is where our latest enhancement with is alert workflow comes into picture. Now, what I'm going to do to just make it clear to you guys about how it works, I'll open up our workflow automator and I'll also point out to where you can find our alert workflows. Yes. So right now, I went through my settings, I went to the workflow automator, and now we have this new section which is called alert as well as has a label of beta right now. Yeah, I go here. I see I have at the moment 4 different workflows enabled for it. So I'll also open these workflows and explain to you what is happening here. Yep. So in this particular workflow, we see that when an alert is raised and primary alert includes the severity is either an error or a critical. At this point of time, I'm asking it to create a new incident. So this is how my incidents are getting created via alerts. But now how do I control to whom this particular incident needs to get associated to? To do that, what I am doing is making use of my alert fields itself, which are fields which are present in my alert itself. To explain this to you, yeah. So this is the data which is coming from my monitoring tool to my environment. And here is this particular field, which is a resource. So this, what I have done is done nothing but map this resource to one of our services. And this is how I'm finding out uh, which service it needs to be associated to. And what I have done is depending upon the resource, I'm I'm I am choosing what is the agent group it needs to be assigned to. Till this part, is this clear, or should I also go a little slower and in a little more detail?
We actually have a question from Daniel. So would you like to just take a look at that?
Yes, I'll take it.
Meantime, if you all have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box. And if you would like to speak out, we can unmute your audio as well.
For some reason, I'm not able to view it.
Should we read out the question?
Yeah, sure.
So Daniel says, I already discussed this with our technical account manager, but I wanted to drop this here as well. When you want to inherit an attribute from the major incident to all child tickets, this is nearly impossible without switching to API, which is not available for MI at the moment. Yes, I can change an attribute for all child tickets hard-coded, but I want to fetch the category from the major incident and inherit this attribute to all child tickets. Could be
Got
interesting
it.
for resolution note as well.
Understood. If time permits, we'll try to create such kind of a workflow. We may not be able to do that because, as you mentioned, it's true. At the moment, the amount of APIs or public APIs that we have for MI are currently limited. But I believe we can try if we can do it. But let's see. Cool. I'll then move to the second part. Now, yes, now I know how. From where does it come? Okay. You are currently not seeing alert module in workflow automator. Please, okay. Could you raise a support ticket for it? We'll definitely do that.
Actually, Aditya, the alert workflows are available to new customers and people who had not enabled the alert management module. So, Rudy, if you are an existing user of the alert management module and you're using alert rules, the migration is in process. It is happening in cohorts. So it would soon happen for you as well. Does that answer your question? Please let us know. Please. Okay. All right. Awesome. And also, everyone, if needed, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak with us directly.
I guess Tony has a question, so let me just.
No, I figured out how do I access the chat. No worries.
Hey, Tony, we've given you access to, we have unmuted your audio. You could speak and ask your question.
I don't think I had a question. I think I clicked on it,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries, no worries.
Okay. So I'll return to the demo. So as we see, these alerts were triggered for each of these different resources which are impacting my services. I can also see which of my services are currently impacted by going to my services tab, and here I see the health status of each of these services have been automatically updated to needs attention. Also, let me jump to my incidents which have been now created using the workflow that we just talked about. Here I'm seeing like there are multiple incidents which have been triggered at the same time. What I see is this particular incident is of a higher priority. So let me first investigate this particular incident. Yep. I also see the description has also been copied from my alert to directly to my ticket so that it can uh, help me remediate this issue as well as investigate this issue faster. I'll also check like what are the assets or impacted services for it. I see seat reconciliation asset is currently being impacted by it. In my impacted services, I see 4 different services are reliant on almost the same ticket and have been impacted. To understand this better, let me also check my service map to see what's exactly happening and how widespread this particular issue is. To do this, I go to my particular service and then view the service map. Yes. Now what we are seeing is a very simplified flow. In your real IT world scenarios, the flows might not be this simple. But for the sake of demo, I have not built out any services downstream or upstream of this. What we are seeing right now is three of my services are dependent on one single thing, which is seat reconciliation one. And I see these services, which are counters, mobile check-in, as well as kiosk. These are all the services which are customer facing. So this tells me that the impact that I'm having is directly impacting my customers because of this particular issue. So this should act like a trigger for me that no, this I need to investigate this issue at priority. So let me also figure out how can do that, and maybe also promote this particular incident into a major incident. Cool. So let me go to this incident. I can, through my service, I can also see which are the incidents related to this particular service. I'll open this one. Right now, only have one single incident. Let me also open the activities. What we see here as on-call has already been triggered because the agent group has been added directly via the workflow. So on-calls and all have got triggered. I can acknowledge it directly from here. Yes, to let the team know that I am taking a look at this issue, and I'll solve this. Now let me promote it to a major incident because it is impacting services which are directly customer facing. Perfect. Yes. Now that I have done it, let me also show you changes in the activity thread which have happened because of my action of promoting it to a major incident. Then I'll also show you the workflow that takes this action so that we can talk about that too. Yes. So what I'm seeing here is it has executed the workflow MI stakeholders. Now let's see what this particular workflow does for me. Yes. So I go and see here that my admin or my manager has already created a workflow for me, which loops in the relevant leadership as soon as a major incident is raised, so that people in my org are aware that a major incident is happening and I can get the help which is needed to resolve this issue. So the way of doing this is I have created a trigger condition, which is if a major incident is raised and its type is changed, or it is like a normal incident has been converted into a major incident, as we did in this current scenario. Send an email to leadership. Here I am mailing myself, but you need not mail it to yourself, right? You would be, let me also edit it. I'll also show you the options. Yeah. You can choose to mail people who are part of the ticket fields, like as a custom property that you have added. You can include their names and emails directly there. You can include department head, reporting manager, people who have been affected by the ticket, or you can also select an agent directly, or you can even select an email ID or like a mailing list directly, right? Your organization might have mailing list which have like all the senior leaderships, or like your department heads and senior engineers already a part of it. You'll be also be able to enter that particular ID here and let all of them know with a single mail that this particular incident is happening. So this is how you can build a major incident workflow. This is what, if time permits, we'll play around and see if we can figure out how can we meet the use case which was raised as a question. Okay. Now let me return back to my ticket. Now since the incident has been now promoted to a major incident, now people would start investigating this particular issue. So yeah, let me also go here. Yes. So at this point of time, I would also be able to make use of our collaborate features, where I can involve people from, I can create a Slack chat directly where I can involve all the people who are needed, or go to the responder, add the right team directly here, and let them know this incident is happening and get their help. At this moment, my particular instance doesn't have a Zoom license. Otherwise, I would have also seen an option of creating a Zoom link directly from here, on which all of the people who are going to work upon this incident can hop into, contribute, and we can work together to resolve this issue. Another thing that I should do if a major incident is happening is create a status page. especially if it's a customer facing issue, I should definitely update my customer that currently I am facing some kind of an issue, which is my performance is degraded. So let me also update that particular ticket field. So I'll choose it at performance degradation. Let me make a note that I'm taking a look at this. Yes, now let me also create a status page so that I can let my customers know that this particular issue is happening. So I'll create a new status page, call it my any airline service state.
Just a small note here, in case you've enabled Freddy Copilot, if you have a license, you'll be able to get Freddy's help to craft such updates.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I was able to include all the impacted services because of the map that I had created. It tells me like that it enables me to like update my status page at one go. I can also like if something is performing well, not so, or like if something is facing a major issue, I can change the state and then publish my incident. Yes. When I publish my status page, I'll see the status page being created here. So let me also view the status page about how it would look to my consumers. Yes. So I see that this particular incident has been created. If a customer is uh, much interested into it and wants to keep a close track of it, he can also subscribe to this particular incident. Or yeah, I can go to my entire status page and see in the last 30 days or last 90 days how reliable my service was, on what days I had an outage and for what duration. So right now, since we are facing an incident, this part is coming up. It also tells you how long this particular incident has been happening and when was it last updated. So once I have done my basics, I'll start looking into why this particular issue is happening. At this point of time, let's say that I figure out what this particular issue is, which means since my CPU capacity is currently facing an issue, I'll investigate what is causing this high usage of CPU. So in this example, what we are going to assume is this has been caused because of a DDoS attack on my website. A DDoS attack is basically a simulation of a large volume of traffic coming to your website. So what happens is, like, say, instead you usually get 300 customers per minute, you will suddenly start getting 3,000, 30,000 customers coming to your website. So since you are not expecting such a volume of customers, what this does is basically chokes down your website, and which causes slowing as well as increased rate of failures. So let's say I've figured out this is happening because of a DDoS. What I'm going to do is now update this particular field. So this is a custom field that I had created before the demo. So let me choose it. Yeah, DDoS attack is happening and let me update it. Cool. I'll also again jump back to my activities. Perfect. I see another workflow has now triggered. I'll also show you what this particular workflow does. And also let me jump back to my ticket and show that a note has been added to a ticket, which tells me right now my website is under attack. And for the next 12 hours, what I'm going to do is basically try to resolve it via third-party tool, which is Cloudflare. So what I have done is created a workflow which tells me like if I am having a major incident and if in that condition I have like if my ticket is currently facing a DDoS attack, at this moment I have done what I'm trying to do is basically place a web request to Cloudflare using a webhook. Let me also try to edit it and show you how you guys can do it. Yes. So to do that, you choose the option of a web request from here. Let me add it here. What this does is let me create a custom API request to whatever app or tool which might be needed and get it to take actions for me and resolve it. So it means I need not go back to that app manually and take actions there. If I have done my preparation, I would be able to handle such kind of scenarios with just allocating the right custom field to my ticket. I can choose what's the endpoint. I'll have to enter the credentials so that the app knows that this request is a genuine and it's not a scam or something. And then I can choose like what actions need to happen. I'll also be able to test my web request if it's triggering properly and if it's getting a response well. Yes. So what is going to happen is now basically this particular box is going to add a captcha to my website so that I know all the traffic which is coming to me, which is not human, which is coming from a bad actor, which is coming from a hacker who has who is attacking my site using robots. He would not be able to solve the captcha, and thereby that traffic would not affect my actual users, and they would be able to make use of my service properly. What I have done is also added a delay timer. The reason for this is basically this attack is not going to go on forever, right? It would stop after some time. So that's why I have added a time delay, which tells me that after 12 hours, I need to remove that captcha so that my regular customers are not annoyed by it, right? And they have a smooth experience. So I can automate such kind of actions using workflows as well. So let me now again jump back to my ticket. I'll also add a note. Yes. And now once I have done this, I'll also resolve this issue because I have dealt with this particular issue which was happening. So let me resolve it. Yes. So once I have basically sent out my request to my DDoS to Cloudflare to add the captcha, what would eventually start happening is the alerts that I was receiving earlier, right? They would start resolving. The timeouts that I was having, they would start going down. So to explain like one of these requests, what we see here is average response time should be less than 120 millisecond. But in this particular one, the response time was as high as 600 milliseconds, right? But after taking the remediation steps, I'll see them dropping down automatically, which would send out the correct alerts, which tells me that these services are now functioning well. So let me also trigger it. And now let me also jump back to my services. Yes, I see the health status has now been automatically been updated to operational. But why was this done? It's also let's try to figure out why that was also done. For that, let's jump to the incidents which were happening. Yes. And let me also jump to the activity. Yes. I see there's another alert workflow that has now played a role to resolve this particular incident. So let's see what this particular incident is. Yeah. This workflow basically tells me like if status of my alert is changed from any to resolved, then basically set my incident status as the result. And my alerts have now been resolved because now I am receiving the right status uh, from or like right severity from my monitoring tool. So this is basically what has happened here. At this point of time, I'll again make an update to my status page. Yeah, I see it has also been directly resolved because of the workflow. If I go back to my status page, I see the impact duration has also been updated. The state has been resolved automatically, and things are now again back to normal. So once I have done this, there's one last thing that I need to do, which would help me basically figure out what are these workflows and all, right? Because in real world, we would not know what are the actual workflows that we'll need to create. The only way we can figure this out is if we document our major incidents and its resolution properly. So that's why it's critical that we also create post-incident reports. To do this, in this particular widget pops up once your major incident has been either resolved or closed. Then what you can do is basically click here and you can make notes about what were the observed symptoms, root causes, impact, as well as what are the steps that you took to resolve this particular issue. Some of the fields in this PI are directly filled, are fetched from your ticket. You can also import some fields directly by making use of the placeholder. It would help you insert the custom properties directly. And if you are a Freddy user, right, from this month onwards, you are also going to see an option of generate PIR directly from here. What it will do is basically read through the incident summary which has been happening, read what are the associated services, assets, or conversation which has happened, as well as conversations that you did even on Slack by creating the Slack channel from there, and uh, write the post incident report for you. I think we'll cover the Freddy use cases about this basic flow that we have talked about, how it can be made more efficient in one of our further sessions. Yes, at this point of time, I'll like to open up the stage for Q&As.
We have around 4 open questions in the Q&A box. And we have one question from Gaurav Shah. He says, can you automate status page impacted services? Example, when a circuit down alert creates an instant ticket, can it post to the status page without manual intervention?
Not right now. We do have that on our roadmap. What we are going to do is, as part of the Q4, we are going to make our status page APIs public, and building upon that, then they will also be added to the workflows. So to answer your question, not today, but very soon you will be able to do that. You'll be able to automate updates to your status page as well.